Alrighty, guys. What's up? Yep, it's Cloud back. Unfortunately, this little clip kind of spoils the entire theme of the video. If you know what to look for, but yeah. So as you can see here, we are hunting the fabled Master Rank Great Jagras in its own habitat. I mean, what a tough, possibly the hardest monster in the game. What a tough opponent. I was lucky to get out with my life. I could not believe that I was able to beat him. What a tough adversary in Monster Hunter World. Like, this enemy is so unbalanced in the game. The Great Jagras needs a nerf. I mean, the way he sits 90% of the time and just menacingly takes damage, or the way that he sometimes falls over like that and flops around on the ground, or possibly even the way that he bites at you with no stagger, is just too much. Like, his dash does, look at the damage that did to me. I cannot believe what I saw. The Great Jagras is just, whew, what a fearsome adversary, what a fearsome foe. I mean, whew, I just could not, I don't even know what to really say, because, like, I'm just so shook from fighting him still. Like, the Great Jagras is just, man, what a masterpiece of an enemy. I mean, look at the way he just waddles, wobbles, and flops away. It's just, oh, look at him standing over there menacingly under that tree. Jesus, it gives me goosebumps every time I see him. And, I mean, he has hair? I think? I don't know. I feel like Great Jagras is what, if Monster Hunter World was based on, like, humans get turned into monsters. I feel like Great Jagras is basically like what your run-of-the-mill human would be turned into. Like, just a very fearsome and overall dangerous foe with the natural instinct of a sage who can tell when danger is brewing and avoid it by hobbling away consistently, and also not really being able to do much. Whereas you have enemies like Nergigante, who would be like that serial killer. So yeah, that's Great Jagras. But no, so okay, here's the real theme of the video. And it's a surprise to everyone, I know, because I've complained about it in the last couple videos I did. Yes, we finally went and fought and hunted the true adversary in this video, the true opponent of mankind, the fabled red dragon, Safi'jiiva. Yes, I know. I said I couldn't get a lobby or anything, and no, I would not have been able to do it solo. I tried it. It didn't work. I'll put a video out of me soloing the Repel mission, because that wasn't hard in terms of comparing it to Safi'jiiva's regular fight, in which case this fight is long. It's a lot of fun, but it's long and difficult if he chains certain moves together, which I will get to later in the video, because this is going to be like an all-purpose video. This is going to kind of go over Safijiva. It's going to give you my thoughts on the fight, of course. And it's gonna be a long video. It's not the special edition version of Monster Hunter World that was like 40 minutes long, but this is 39 minutes long, so it's almost that level. But like, no, I just felt like I should publish a video of me consistently and repeatedly hunting the red dragon, because I said I couldn't do it so many times. So now I'm here to show you that it's truly the fact of the matter being that there is nothing in this game that I can hunt. I'm sorry, that I can't hunt, is what I was trying to say. Because, you know, if the red dragon can be hunted, then anything can be hunted. I mean, like, he's not... Okay, so, like, I will do a few adages here. First of all, in my video of the Wrath, Ian, and Rathalos abuse that I put out, which was the special edition, as you all know, I mentioned that Safi's AoE attack, his white mechanic, is not top spot, and I put Behemoth there. Obviously, I was mistaken. So I would say Safi is tied with Behemoth, but his attack is way cooler, giving him the edge. Plus he has, I'll get to this later on in the video, but he has a certain thing that happens sometimes if your group is too good, and that makes his thing more deadly for sure. I still think Lunastra has the most dangerous AoE ability, because hers can't be hidden from, and it still has a ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous amount of damage with no, like, so here's the difference, right? Safijiva flies up, and he's like, alright guys, so I'm gonna start casting this blue fire across the map. I'm like, alright, cool. It doesn't burn you, unless it's because I have heat guard, but here it is. So as you can see, blue fire. My character is literally being burned by the power of the sun. And then everything goes quiet as he drops literally the nuke, and then blows the entire map away. The thing is about that, he doesn't have wind pressure with it, and it's not a DOT. So it makes it more balanced and fair to fight against. Luna's is, and it has a lot of tell, is like the main point. Like, you still get a second or two knowing that he's gonna fly up, and then you get like some extra time to run around because he's not doing wind pressure or burning damage. Lunastra's is literally like, I'm gonna fly up, everything is getting cast out now, flames are already out, as soon as I land, wind pressure is that of a tornado, so you can't move. I'm doing pretty quick tick heat damage, and if you don't die from that, you're gonna die from the explosions. So I still say Luna has the most dangerous monster, like, AoE ability. Crowd wipe ability, if you will. But I definitely think Safi has the coolest one. I really like his, just everything about him, kind of, like Xenojiva, whatever you want to call him. I just call him Xeno, because, like, old man Xeno from, Hunter x Hunter. Anyway. Man. It's like, Xenojiva he was cool and a really pretty boss fight, but he was lacking. Whereas, like, he was over-designed, in my opinion, in terms of he just, I don't know, I just didn't like his design as much. Whereas Safi'jiiva it takes everything back to like old dragon based, like Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is what comes to mind when I think of Safi'jiiva, because he is what that red dragon would have looked like had the game been made in like 2019 or 2018. But yeah, Safi just looks incredible because he's not overbearing with his graphics. He's just a basic red dragon monster, but the way he's designed makes him still an imposing presence on the battlefield, and he's very cool overall. And then his moves, of course, are beautiful. Any light-based move that he does, anyway. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty much what you'd expect from a big dragon. Like, can't really be fucked to move around too much because he's a big dragon and he can reach you anywhere, which is kind of what they say in like the tooltips, is that he won't really move unless he needs to like dash. Like, once he has his target, like whatever it is, his rage, his enmity, once he gets that on you, then he'll move around a lot because like he's after one person. But until then, he doesn't really move much. And so that lends to the fight well, because like his health pool is so massive that like any other monster would have died 5 times over. That isn't a raid boss, to be fair. However, yeah, this clip here that you've been watching is going to be the first Safi'jiiva kill, I do believe. I believe that this is the first successful Safi'jiiva kill I had. So that's why, you know, I was just talking over this one, because, you know, this was like before there was a lot of refined mechanics and everything to it, and like me being good. But later in the video, I have highlights up of like the fastest part breaks I was a part of, the fastest or the most clean kill, or third phase, whatever you want to call it. Stuff like that. Although I die in that clip, so maybe it's not clean. But regardless, you get the point. But no, back to Safi'jiiva's like overall looks and everything. Great, just great design. You'll love to see him. Definitely glad that I reached out and started joining lobbies to do this, instead of just like continuing to be like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do it because no one joins my lobbies, because this is not a fight that I would recommend missing. Is it the best fight in Monster Hunter World so far? Maybe. Probably, honestly. Like, yes. Because, like, Kolv? Not really. Behemoth, it's tough because it switched up the mechanics. Behemoth is hard to judge because, like, he was based... Like, it was a crossover event, basically. Like, Safi'jiiva is the first monster that actually belongs with the narrative of the game that isn't Xeno'jiiva or Kolv. That's like a raid boss. And Xeno is not a raid boss. Arc-tempered, maybe, but, like, you know... And so, no, I was just really impressed with how they did this. And, as you can see, I'm using the Wyvern Blade Luna and everything. And it was very effective, and now it's retired, is the exciting news. The reason that I went to Safi'jiiva, of course, and I know I said this whenever I put my last video up, was like, I hate Wyvern Blade Luna. It was the MR 1 to 100 video, and so therefore I'm going to start using Ruinous Extermination, because I don't have access to Safi'jiiva, is exactly what I said. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't use his weapon. Well, do I have some news for you. I went and farmed for Safi's Shatterblade, and oh my god, when you upgrade that motherfucker, is it good. Oh my lord, it is ludicrous what you can do with that weapon. Mine's not even close to finished. I finished its awakening potential, now I need to put a motherfucking attack augment on it. and just make that fucker do so much more damage. It's ridiculous. It's really just disgusting how good the Safi-Jiva weapons are overall, as a whole. I didn't buy into it at first. I was like, I'm sure it's not that big of a difference. It's a huge difference. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's fucking enormous. Just the sheer variety that you can add to a Safi-Jiva weapon is astonishing. What a great system. The Safi-Jiva armor looks great. The stats on it, like the set bonuses, they're okay. But the decoration slots, fantastic. The set itself looks incredible. Everything is great about the Safi-Jiva equipment. Now, what do I have to say about going back and using Ruinous Extermination? I'll probably try it out. Maybe. I'm going to build it either way. I don't know if I'm going to use it. Safi's Shatterblade has given me a taste of power that is too insatiable. That being said, I do think that even now, after the boss has been out for 2 months, there is room for improvement from the community as a whole when fighting this boss. However, when you get a group of people who really know what they're doing, you can shred this motherfucker in ways that, I mean, like, I'm telling you, I've never seen, it comes up later in the video, I've never seen a group, I think we were on, like, not even full first level energy, like, diminished, and we broke his wings, we broke his damn leg, we broke his back, partly broke his head, maybe. Like, I've never seen so much part break from a group that's that early in the raid. I was like, damn, are we speedrunning this shit? We would have too, and most likely killed him. However, I will get to, once again, why we did later in the video. But yes, just, oh, what a fight. I can't give it enough props. But now I'll start talking about kind of some of the things to watch out for when you're playing mainly melee, I guess. Now, I play longsword pretty much exclusively, so I focus on his front 2 legs, unless he's knocked over, and then I switch to his head just to give some more damage to that group. I gotta tell ya, he does a good amount of damage. Enough to kill me? No. But a good amount that I'm healing a lot of the time. And so I had to learn, instead of healing, to just weave in between his attacks, to the point that, like, there were runs where I didn't get hit for the first 2 areas because I was like, hey, I'm just going to keep doing damage. One of the things that I would recommend for the community, though, this is what I mean the community could get better, is like, when he focuses on someone, that means that person has done the most damage to the boss in the last cycle. So therefore, in order for them to keep doing damage, if you could flinch shot his head, switch the aggro, that would be great. The reason I say it is because 9 times out of 10, when I farmed him, I was the one getting, especially when I was using the Shatterblade later on, with its upgrades, I was getting strictly, like, there were some times where I would survive for 3 or 4 cycles of his gaze, because no one else could pull it off of me, and I was like, shit. So, yeah, that's just one tip I have. Another tip I have for the community is use, obviously everyone said this till they're blue in the face, use environmental traps. They help more than you would think. The only place that I would be real careful about using environmental traps on, or in, is probably... Oh, was he sleeping there and I didn't know it? Damn. I can't believe I fucked that up. Anyway. No, what I would say is... be careful. Sorry about the pause there. Be careful with the environmental attacks that he does. Or the environmental attacks that you can do around the arena, because if you do too many, the damage check that is this ability, sometimes you'll break the second threshold, which I'll cover later in the video. And that will cause a full group wipe, because, once again, I will cover that later in the video. Anyway. But yeah, so the main thing when you're attacking his forearms as a melee player is, you know, he has one or two attacks that are annoying. So that when he targets you is deadly, but he does his backwards scratch with whatever arm you're focusing. That's easily, you can just tank that because it doesn't really flinch you. Then he follows that up, if you have his attention still, with a giant arm swing. That does flinch you, and it carries you if you try to dodge through it. So don't try to dodge through it. Dodge either inwards or forwards up near his head, where the attack doesn't hit you. His beams of light, sometimes he charges them up quick, other times he does this, as you see on screen, where he will lead his shot. In cases like that, just dive like I did there, if you can. This ability, very deadly as well. As you can see, he literally just turns you into a furnace and then shoots you into the ground. And word to my team for healing me there. Appreciate y'all. And then here he is charging it again. So as you can see, I run into it because I'm a fool. And I thought that rock was cover. But yeah, his beam attacks can be devastating. It's just like, if they hit you, which they shouldn't really be hitting you too often. There is his forward, well, there's that version of it, where that one's hard to get out of. If you're rocking Rocksteady Mantle, I would recommend taking one hit of it, assuming you have enough health, which you should be above half at all times of this fight, just to avoid getting one shot by anything. But I will say that when he does that, if you're wearing Rocksteady, you're not going to get flinched by it. So the thing to do is dodge roll forward after tanking one of the hits, and you will not get hit by another one. And then you can heal while he's finishing that attack, and you basically didn't lose any health to begin with. You only lost the potion, so that's fine. However, his top floor chest lunge spam thing will knock you over if you're wearing Rocksteady. So here it is again. And when he does that, I mean, it doesn't do a lot of damage when you're wearing Rocksteady, obviously, but it's just not nice to get hit by because that's lost damage. So always, he's pretty easy to tell when he's going to do it because he kind of has, an air about him. I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, no, he's, I mean, dead, as you can see. But, he does that chest lunge thing, and that's a big, once again, this is only covering, threats to melee DPS. And so, that's a big one. His bite attacks aren't very strong unless it's the 1, 2, 3 punch, especially if you're wearing Rocksteady, that'll insta-kill you. He's faster than you would expect, so, don't be fooled by that. And then, other than that, I mean, there's 1 or 2 attacks I'd be careful of besides the obvious nuke that he does, and that is when he leaps, or he goes on his hind legs and breathes down into the middle circle. I have seen more people die from that than any other basic attack he does, and I don't know why that is. And then, of course, when he plunges his arms into the ground, that one always will knock you over even when you're wearing Rocksteady, so as long as you don't get up too fast, it's only going to do like a reasonable amount of damage, but no irreparable damage where it kills you, but it's still a strong attack, and it recoats his arm and energy. So yeah. Now here is what I'm talking about in terms of all the times in this video where I said I will talk about it later in the video. So here is what we call the Sappy Jiva damage check. And so if your group is too good, as you can see I'm using the Shatterblade. So if your group has done too much damage, this is one of the best groups I've ever seen. If your group does too much damage, he goes up and he'll do this. Of course these boulders are replaceable, but they, you know, fucking, you know, they disappear is what I'm saying. Anyway, if your group does too much damage, he does a thing where I think this is a clip of it. I will be really upset if it's not. Anyway, so you see we do 1,000 extra damage there. This is what I mean, be careful with the environmental traps, because you're now out damaging it, and you're gonna break the threshold. And if you break the threshold, okay, actually I think this is just someone faints and we fail, but I'm just going to talk about it in this clip anyway. Nope, here it is. Okay, so you see there's no rocks anywhere on the map because we broke his second damage threshold. So there is nothing we can do besides take it. And I have survived that attack as a group once because we had Feline Safeguard on. And 3 of us died, and 1 got away with a Farcaster, so it brought us down to 1 attempt left. This is just footage of my best first and second area. Like, this is, I think, the 3 breaks on, like, still having first floor energy. I think. Maybe not. Maybe first floor was exhausted by now. But, yeah, so, no, his double, Sapphire of the Emperor attack is just, you know, it's a damage gated attack. So if your group is just balling, I have footage of the 3rd phase of my group doing exactly what I'm talking about, out damaging him, and I actually go on duty to break the ability so that he can't do it again. And you'll see what I mean by it, because I'll talk about solutions in that segment. But yeah, so that attack's real strong. As you can see, we're already breaking parts this early in. We've already put him in the rotted or the decayed ground. I mean, we're just absolutely mobbing on this guy. I mean, by the end of the night, I was pretty much Sappy Jiva Pro. In terms of, like, I was just reading attacks, nothing could hit me. It was good. It was a good time overall. I got multiple Sappy Shatterblades. So there he goes into the second area now because he's mad that we broke him. And so yeah, I mean, this is just, you know, this I think was what I would consider my highest damaging group, this specific clip. Unfortunately, we couldn't kill it in this clip, like this run, because of the double Sapphire of the Emperor nuke drops that he did. But after we got killed by that, I made it a mission of mine to kind of like be, hey, I'm gonna go on duty and sacrifice my own damage here to handle this fucking mechanic. Which worked out well. As you can see, we're breaking more parts off his ass. Actually, maybe this isn't the one where we break both his wings. We broke one of them. But anyway. I just, you know, it's interesting to see, like, how he functions as a dragon. I don't know, I'm just getting, like, lost in the fight here. But no, so, I think I covered just about all the melee mechanics that I needed to cover before the double Sapphire of the Emperor breakdown. So I think I will just continue on with saying that good group compositions. I will talk about group compositions now. That'll be what we do. bring an insect glaive person. They are more... We do break both wings. They are more useful than you would believe. Although I'm sure a lot of you know that by now. And then another thing is, obviously you don't need one, assuming everyone in your group's like good enough to look at this, I'm not getting hit by anything. But no, assuming everyone in your group's good enough to stay alive on their own, you don't need one. But a hunting horn player with wide range or wide reach, super helpful in case the person being targeted gets pinned down by just a massive chain of attacks. If you could heal them through a couple of those, I mean, it saved me 1 or 2 times, which was really nice. Just anyone in general with wide range is very useful to the group if you're willing to sacrifice the damage. And then one person with a light bow gun I would recommend, because that breaks so many of his parts untouchable by other weapons, like almost any other weapon. I've never seen part break as effectively as with a light bow gun on any other ranged weapon in the game on this boss. So like bow, not as effective, and I would say probably not heavy bow gun either. But yeah, light bow gun, definitely good. And so obviously you don't need... I've never seen anyone run hammer. There are people who are really good with the gun lance and the switch axe as well, which are optional. And then longsword player you don't need. I just always run longsword, and so if you do have one, I mean, you know, that's how it goes. Here's the final phase of... I think this was the kill attempt. And this is where I full counter his double Sapphire of the Emperor. And there's 2 ways to do that, but I will get to that in a little bit. So, yeah, that's group composition for you. And I think that overall, it doesn't really matter too much what your group composition is, as long as you have not all of one weapon type. And like an insect glaive, like I said, is probably the most valuable. It depends really on what you're looking for. If you're looking for part break, light bowgun. If you're looking for knockovers and stuns, insect glaive. And then if someone's using sleep element or paralysis element, obviously that's useful as well for some extra damage. So yeah, and then blast damage, I will say this. This is one very important point that I will say. All of my groups that did the most damage and killed him the fastest, I think we all were using explosive weapons, and those attacks, like the element itself being inflicted, chains throughout all the weapons. And so, therefore, we were doing just explosive damage, like 600 ticks of explosive. Oh, I don't know, probably once every 10 seconds for a good minute. So that was 6,000 damage extra that we did just by stacking explosives, which was cool. I'm not going to tell you to knock him out of sleep or not, because like everyone knows to do that. I know earlier in the video I did it. Everyone knows not to knock him out of sleep if you can avoid it. Sometimes you just don't realize it's going on, whatever. But most times he has a large amount of... I'm trying to think of what it would be. There's me getting fucked by an unavoidable attack. But no, he has a large amount of, like, leniency in his sleep frames. Where, like, you can attack almost until he is actually asleep without waking him up, which is nice. And poison doesn't knock him out of sleep, mind you. And, yeah, so that's that important thing. But no, so yeah, the best ideal group that I would say, possibly Safi's Shatterblade, and then a light bowgun of some sort, and an insect glaive of some sort, and then whatever your 4th weapon wants to be. And so here's an example of us do it. So you see I'm running the outer perimeter because I'm just waiting. I'm aiming flash pods. I have my Farcaster out, which is one way to avoid it if you can do it before he starts casting it. Otherwise it blocks your Farcaster usage. And then flash pods are the other way. Look at this. Right there. Bam. He's not doing fucking anything. I am sick of his shit. He is not wiping us this time. And so that's a way that you could really help your team out, is one person uses flash pods and covers the perimeter just in range of him, so that when he does fly up, he doesn't wipe you, is the answer. And so that is, of course, once he misses that second one, like once you flash him out of the second one, he goes back to his normal rotation. And so you have passed the over damage check, and yeah. Nice. And then now see the boulders are back, which is good. I don't know, I mean, I don't really got much else to say on the mechanics or anything like that, or group composition, weapons and armor, so I'll just do like closing thoughts and everything, and then let the fight finish up. Like I said earlier, I think that this is probably the best fight in Monster Hunter right now. Monster Hunter World anyway. And his weapons are all incredible. Extremely customizable. I recommend getting them if you don't have them. I know I'm kind of late to the party here, but you know, this is just my breakdown. And his armor, decent, but could be, depending on like the way the meta changes, it could become good later on. And it is good. It's pretty good right now. It's just not like the best thing. I don't really have experience to speak to as a ranged player for like what to look for and what to avoid. But as a melee player, you know, watch his arm attacks, watch his lunge attack, and watch his blue fire attacks, especially the ones that blow up the ground under you. That's all I have for that. And then team composition, I just summed that up, so we don't need to go into that again. To counter his double Sapphire the Emperor, once again, flash pods if you can do it in time, otherwise Farcaster away if you can do it in time. Once again, great looking boss. And yeah, no, I think that about sums it up in terms of what I have to say about Zappy Jiva. I could give you like mantle recommendations, but like, does anyone really want to hear that from me? No. I just use Temporal and Rocksteady personally. I mean, use whatever you want. Affinity boosters are good. Health boosters are good. Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, that's about it. So, that is gonna be it for this video, I think. Once again, I hope you enjoyed. We're gonna finish this fight out right here and now. And, if you like the content, be sure to give it a like. Share it with your friends, of course, that play Monster Hunter, if you have any friends you play Monster Hunter with. And don't be shy in subscribing. And yeah, that'll do it for this video. So I will see you in the next video. In the next video, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But bye, guys.